This is Chris from Houston, and you're listening to Drunkards United. Come on, you Iron!
Yeah. You all beat us. How about that? Finally, Moyes gets a win at Goodison after leaving the club. What's more important, Sam, is that the show order has to be completely changed because Liverpool decided to fuck off today.
Yeah, that was glorious.
Absolutely glorious. You know what? I don't mind moving it to the front. So let's go ahead and start the show.
Born in the land of Bowie, Maryland. Bred to be a fan of fucking Everton. Punch you in the eye and drink your rye. Sam Houston. Arsenal fans have another Sam. Right day, the fucking Gooner Graham. Smoke of a lord. Looks great in shorts. Sam Graham, hey.
Sam Graham.
Fucking United! Fucking United!
Hello and welcome to the Drunken United Football Show, a completely biased recap of the English Premier League as told by two common American schmucks. I am your host, Sam Houston, and across the way is the always supportive Samuel Graham.
I've got your back, buddy. Whenever you need an uplift, you just call me.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly what I just got, especially during sound check there. You guys were the most supportive human beings I've ever dealt with my entire life.
Aw, thanks for recognizing that.
I know, it took you long enough.
We're recording at Studio H just outside our nation's capital. You can check us out on all podcast platforms. Please be sure to rate, subscribe, review, and share with a friend. And should you want to chat with us, there is many ways that you can. Sammy, why don't you tell the good people how they can get in touch?
Absolutely. On all the social medias, you can get in touch with us at DUfootballshow and then DUfootballshow@gmail.com to get in touch via email.
All right, excellent. And Sam and myself both work in the wine and spirit industry and both share a deep, passionate love for all things distilled spirits. So as the red-blooded Americans we are, we vow to have a drink in our hand throughout this show and every single show. Sammy, another whiskey without the E. Let's go ahead and talk about it.
Yes, sir. This is Aberfeldy's 18-year-old French red wine cask finish. Comes in at 86 proof. And number 10 on 2020 Whiskey Advocate's 2020 Whiskey of the Year list.
Absolutely. Lovely.
Top 20.
Yep.
This is number 10. It'll run you between $119.99 and $125.99.
Mm-hmm.
And it is an excellent, excellent little whiskey. I actually am holding Whiskey Advocate's top 20.
Yeah, I got the hard copy of the magazine. I was like, you know what,
copy.
Sam? Here you go.
Yeah.
You could just go ahead and read from this from now on for the rest of the year.
I'm going to read to you what the red wine casks offer the whiskey as it finishes its maturation in those casks. Fig Newtons and dried cherries, building upon Aberfeldy's classic honey vanilla profile to evoke strawberry shortcake and flavors of jam and clotted cream on a fresh baked scone.
I don't get strawberry shortcake.
Neither do I. Don't get scones either.
I get cream. I definitely get like a clotted cream.
Yeah.
There's a mouthfeel to it.
There definitely is. You're absolutely right.
A lot of fig. Lot of
Big
fig, a
time
lot of
fig.
cherry.
Yeah.
Pretty lovely.
Absolutely. It's wonderful. So it is a Bordeaux finished whiskey.
Yep, that's what I was about to ask. I thought it was a Bordeaux.
Yes. Do you remember, to see if you remember it, because you've been a spirit guy for a very long time, do you remember the 5 noble grapes of Bordeaux?
Let me see here. It would be Cabernet, which is left bank, Merlot, which is right bank. You have Cabernet Franc, Petit Verdot, and Malbec.
Well done. Good work. I'm surprised you remember that, to be honest with you.
And I also remembered left and right bank. Come on. I mean,
That's not bad.
And white would be Chardonnay and Semillon.
Semillon, yeah.
I'm sorry, Sauvignon Blanc and Semillon, because Chardonnay is Burgundy. So
you said Chardonnay?
Yeah.
Sauvignon Blanc and Semillon.
Blanc and Semillon.
Yeah.
And then all of your dessert wines are Semillon with the noble rot,
With
the
noble
botrytis.
rot. Yep, botrytis. Yes, sir. Well done.
Look at me throwing down wine knowledge on you. Again, people, you can ask us questions about booze as well. We would love to get questions about booze.
I threw my shit bed on the ground.
Well, yes, it was. Which one? There's been so many.
Just this most recent.
Very good. So what else should we do, Sammy?
We should always remember to drink responsibly.
Love it.
have a wonderful show. Oh, it's whack.
Yeah, that didn't work. I'll
No.
try again.
That's close
Because
enough.
I'm drinking. What am I drinking?
Oh, the cocktail I made for you is
She's been
just-
waiting for 3 weeks for this.
well, just because the holidays
been.
actually just because the holidays are over doesn't mean you shouldn't like stop drinking holiday cocktails, right? Those type of flavors really play into the winter as well, right? So don't think, oh, I
Absolutely.
can't have honey and clove and cinnamon and pomegranate and cranberry and those. Absolutely, you could still have them. They go with the winter. Why not drink them all winter long? So what we have here is the rock and rye that I made that we've talked about before, infused with cinnamon, clove, nutmeg, orange, and lemon peel. Then I made a pomegranate orange syrup. So made a simple syrup that I then put fresh pomegranate seeds into, cooked it down, smashed the seeds to get all the juice out of them, and then mixed it with some freshly squeezed clementine orange juice, and then added all that together over crushed ice with some ginger beer as well.
I'm spoiled.
Well, when the tyrant says she wants a fucking cocktail, I better make sure I get it right.
Give me,
now-
and it better be good.
And you know what you better be doing? You just did it. Good girl. All right. So we had a great weekend of action, and we start with what I thought was going to be a pair, but now is going to be a trio of games because, well, Liverpool fucked right off. One of them we expected. Two of them we certainly didn't. Brighton 3, Wolves 3, Man City 3, Chelsea 1, Southampton 1, Liverpool 0. Who would have thought the game of the weekend and what we would be opening up with right now was Wolves Brighton?
Certainly not me.
That game had drab 1-1 written all over it.
Completely. But it was anything but. Aaron Connolly got the scoring off the mark with a peach of a little quote unquote stealing, if you will.
Right.
Just got right in front of Rui Patricio, got his boot up, got his boot out of the way quick enough that he didn't make any contact.
Right.
And just poked the ball in the back of the net. Great cross from Trossard. I think the Wolves defender could have done a little bit better because if you watch in the build-up, Trossard slips. And the Wolves defender made up no ground to him, didn't close him down any further. He got up, got the ball out of his feet, and crossed in for Connolly.
Well, before we get more into it, I would say this game was entertaining. Not to say that it was pretty, because as we start to get into Wolves' first few goals, wasn't fucking pretty.
Not really, no.
I mean, it was back and forth. It was exciting. It was a very entertaining watch. It doesn't necessarily mean that it was
No.
great footy.
Aaron Connolly was also on it.
Yeah,
Big time.
that first goal was gorgeous.
Just a few minutes later, he had
Yeah.
an overhead kick that
Yep.
Patricio did save, but he had his shooting boots on, man. He was ready for it. Wolves did settle into the game and then had a training routine, basically from a corner, what looked like, go awry with a bit of a miss kick.
Yeah.
However, I believe it was the right back for Wolves. That it was played to after his miss kick, beat the Brighton defender to the byline to retrieve his miss kick, cross back into the middle, goal. It was like, all right, kind of came off, I guess you'd say. And from there, the game just remained open. I mean, there was tons and tons of chances. Both goalkeepers played pretty well, making a couple of really good saves here and there.
Well, and Dan Byrne not giving up the own goal. And
That was stupid. And then 4 minutes later, or whatever it was, 10
Was
minutes
the
later,
penalty.
gave up the penalty.
Yeah,
He was having a nightmare of a day.
yeah, for it was.
What a shit day that was.
What I found very interesting is that it was a fun first half. Dan Byrne had a really shitty 10 minutes. Then it was halftime, and then Wolves had a really shitty 10 minutes.
Yeah. So the other thing too is I'm not sure. I think I heard that was Ruben Neves' first goal of the season,
Yeah.
which is unusual for him. He's a pretty regular
Yeah, just
contributor.
really
He's not getting massive numbers, but he's a pretty regular contributor. He scores here and there, and for him to be 16 games in,
Right.
and for this to be his first goal, or 17 games in, I guess now. That's
we'll-
a bit.
we'll talk about it a little more later because I just recently did a podcast appearance. But our friend Paul does the Whole Lot of Wolves show, and it's something I've been listening to. I listen to their show, and they've been talking about kind of regularly is the slipping of Neves, that him and Matinho, one or the other neither one of them click at the same time. Neither one of them are really performing to the level that you want. It's why you're starting to see kids like Odin Sowie starting to play, because they're not doing what they should be doing. And there might be the beginning of the slip of them as they're becoming older players.
Well, and speaking of that, Matinho gave away Brighton's penalty. Mm-hmm. Typically reliable Matinho, who doesn't do daft, dumb things.
Yep.
Just leaves a leg out there, and was it Connolly that?
No, it was
that he took down. It was Mopé that he took down.
Yeah.
Neil Mopé just took his opportunity to fall over.
Again, when you do that as a defender, you've asked for the attacker to literally step into your leg and fall on the ground.
That's it.
And they'll all do it. They will do it every time.
You give the referee a decision to make, and then Mopé scored that emphatically, obviously. But then Lewis Dunk found a half a yard from a corner and equalized. Made it 3-3.
And then both of them right at the end almost had one.
Right. So in a counterattack, Odasawi had probably the best actual chance of the game minus the penalties.
And skied it right over the net right at the whistle.
Yeah.
And I forget who, I think it was Troussard who put it right off the pipe just minutes later.
And what I didn't care for was that young lad sat in the goal by himself for a good 3-4 minutes while everybody else on the field shook hands and did sit. Now, one Wolves player walked over to him and was like, "It's all right, son, get up. You're okay."
Yeah, that's not good.
Don't worry about it.
You got a young kid like that because he's taking it to heart that he missed.
Yeah. Somebody's got to go put their arm around him.
Captain's got to be there immediately. Arm around him. Don't worry about it, son. Come on.
Absolutely. It's fine. Come on. Get up.
We got the point. Let's move on.
Yeah.
Don't worry about it.
So I didn't care for that. But it was a wonderful game of football to watch. Not always the highest of quality, obviously. Yeah. So some of the goals were kind of scrappy, but it was enjoyable. It was exciting. There was, back and forth. They had some little bit of chippiness from time to time. It was a lot of fun to watch. I very much enjoyed it.
A few years ago, we opened up the show with Huddersfield Town and West Ham to a 4-4 draw.
Yeah.
It was an ugly as shit game.
Yeah.
It was also entertaining as hell. It was
also a fucking low point for us.
It was clearly the best show of the week and the best game of the week. But it was fun to fucking watch, right? So, our point of view is if it's a fun match, we're gonna open with it. And like we did last week with Leeds, it's how we roll. It's not always going to be the big six that we're talking about, but now we're going to go ahead and talk about a bunch of the big six sides. I think we've learned something here. It's clear City are still in it. They haven't lost it. They're still around. And it's clear Chelsea aren't there yet.
City have what now? 3 games in hand? Is that right?
2.
Yeah.
No, I think it might. No, they have 2. United had 2 also. So, not that City's games in hand are pushovers. It's Everton and Villa that they have. And United has Burnley, and I think they just have Burnley.
Right. It is 2 games in hand on Liverpool.
Yeah. Villa has 2 in hand. Burnley has 1 in hand. Newcastle has 1 in hand. There's a handful.
Yeah, there's a handful of stuff that needs to be done.
Which we're not going to see any of those games played until March.
Right.
Because of Champions League. Correct. None of those games are getting played anytime soon.
But City made a statement here. Big time. Chelsea had, let's say Chelsea played for about the first 12 minutes of the game, and then they played again for about 9 minutes total of the second half. Other than that 21 minutes, the entirety of possession, chances, everything were with City. Really, City didn't have to try to go forward in the second half.
Right.
They just held the ball, because if they have it, you can't score.
What was it, 2-0 within 15 minutes of the match? I mean,
well, I think they scored. I think I actually wrote it down. I think it was 18 minutes and 21 minutes was Gundogan and then Foden.
Yeah, and as soon as they scored their 2, you're like, that game's over.
Yeah, and Phil Foden's goal was gorgeous, but Mendy should be doing better with that. I mean, he was standing on his near post and still let it in, but it was a nifty little no look with his wrong foot, Phil Foden, at the near post, and then but the first one from Gundogan, what a turn! Took 2-3 Chelsea players out at the top of the box. Turned, struck really well. Mendy didn't have a chance. And then, of course, that counterattack. They left nobody back. N'Golo Kante went and won the initial header, but it went to nobody. Found himself then out of position, and De Bruyne headed it very far to the very fast Raheem Sterling. Nobody could catch up with him, obviously.
Yep.
Goalkeeper did well, forced Sterling a bit wide. He had to actually turn, wait for reinforcements, kind of stepped inside a bit, cranked it to the far post, hits the upright, falls to De Bruyne, and what a touch and composure that was. If that was any one of us, and 99% of the players in the Premier League, they'd have snatched at it and sent it to Rosie. But instead, he takes a touch, gathers himself, and bang, right in the bottom, just past it hard, but past it into the bottom corner. Absolutely fantastic.
Brought up Gundogan. It's funny because we forget all the signings that City does, right? And then they put him in the lineup and they don't immediately impact, which of course they're not. They got to learn the system. But then you look like it's been a couple of years now. He's a pivotal part of their midfield. Like Fernandinho, who? Like he's really just solidified himself as honestly, one of the first names on the team sheet for Pep every single week.
Yeah, and when he's fit, yes.
And he's getting some goals, which is nice.
He's found a rich vein of form. He's, 3 or 4, 3 times maybe in the last 4 games, I think he's scored.
And his job isn't to score.
No.
And he's playing lights out right now, really, really well.
Absolutely.
A bit of good news for Chelsea. Now, I wouldn't go so far as to say he had an impact on this game because he did not, but Ziyech. Let's look back at when Chelsea was rolling. Who was in the lineup the entire time?
Right. Hakim Ziyech.
What is it that he offers that they've been having problem with? He offers width. And I really think as we kind of move forward with this Chelsea team, that's the guy stirring the drink.
Well,
I really think that's the guy stirring the drink.
Werner, Mount, Havertz,
Pulisic.
and Pulisic all want to cut inside. Hakim Ziyech is the only player that wants to play his fucking position.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I'm surprised Hudson-Odoi doesn't get more of a look because he is also a winger.
Right.
So why not balance the midfield? And I think that may be part of the problem at the moment at Chelsea is their midfield's not balanced.
It's how Everton beat him. Everton went with that 4 center back system and just went, we dare you to go down the sidelines and beat us. We dare you to do it. Yeah. And they couldn't do it.
Absolutely. I mean, you also look at N'Golo Kante, I think, has fallen off tremendously in his form.
Yeah.
I think it was Sterling again running away from him, almost made Kante look like he was standing still. And that's a player who's we've spoken about before having one of the best engines in world football. And he's unable to keep going.
But you also have, and not that I'm overly defending him, but I will defend him some. Let's face it, that man has had to run nonstop for the past 8 years because he also is the main holding player for a very successful French national team. So all that man's done is run his entire life for 8 years. His run.
Yeah.
I think he runs when he's not on the pitch. He just runs. That's it.
Yeah, that's all he does. Yeah.
Just runs.
He's finally tired after 8 years of running.
Maybe he's finally getting tired, you know?
But, that's absolutely could be the case. He plays more often than not for both club and country, and he hasn't had a break. So maybe it's just starting to catch up with him a bit. I think that's a guy that could use with some rest.
Is Frank now in trouble?
No.
Okay.
The reason I say that is I think if you fire Frank Lampard after getting into the Champions League, advancing to the knockout rounds, because of a little bit of a bad run of form, a legend of the club like that, I think a lot of the support will turn on Abramovich. Not that necessarily he would care, but he would do well to keep people on side. I think for a very young team, they're very talented. And this is going to happen with a young team. They're going to have ebbs and flows in form. And that's just how it works. They added some experience with Thiago. But across that back line, Aspilicueta looks a little bit past it as well. So they have Thiago, they have Aspilicueta, but the rest of that back line is young. Most of the midfield is young. minus N'Golo Kante.
And
Most-
Jorginho, but he's also hurt currently.
Right, and I don't think Frank Lampard knows his best 11.
Oh, and Kovacic, they've already sent out on loan.
Wow, that fast.
They sent him out on loan already.
Huh.
Yeah, it's just freshly the new year, already out on loan.
Yeah.
They're like, now we're not going to need
He
you.
played yesterday. Kovacic played yesterday.
Okay, no. Then, no, he's rumored to go out on loan. I'm sorry.
Oh, okay.
And my apologies.
Kovacic played yesterday.
I could've sworn
nice job. By the way, remember we asked you to bring your luggage to the game today? You're going to the fucking airport, mate.
They were
like, damn.
Honestly, the way Arlo and Graham were talking about it, it sounded
that
like
he's already gone.
It was sounding like he was already gone. Like
Right.
So forgive me for not catching that. Terrible of me. Last fun little fact that we have to bring up, of course, with City is U.S. men national team goalkeeper, and more importantly, Maryland fucking Terrapin. Zach Steffen gets the start in the net for Manchester City.
Of the two goalkeepers that have made their Premier League debut against Chelsea, he's the now third. He's the first one to not have a clean sheet.
Oh, really?
And Zach Steffen also being an American. Now, he did play for Manchester City FC, or New York City FC. I mean, the club Manchester City owns here in the States. But being an American and being a Maryland Terp, former Maryland Terp, it dismayed me to see his first call to action was to pick up a back pass.
Yeah, that was a
And
little disturbing.
At a time when we need Americans to hold the flag abroad in the world of football and show that we're not a fucking laughingstock, his first action on his Premier League debut is to pick up a fucking back pass. You can't do that, mate.
I'll say outside of that, he didn't have many mistakes.
No.
The goal at the end
He
was
did
just
not.
the goal at the end was just on. Well, he wasn't really called to action either. The goal at the end was
True.
just unfortunate. Like that should have been. It was funny because Pep doing what Pep do. Who's the Canelo? Is it who is the outside back on City? I'm trying to remember the kid's name.
João Cancelo?
Cancelo, that's it. He's the one who ended up giving up the goal. Pep's walking him out with a smile on his face and his arm around him, talking to him the entire way off the pitch.
Right.
Which, you know, when Pep has a smile on his face, he's telling you, I'm gonna fucking skull fuck you.
Yeah.
You fucked that shit up. And I'm right now on TV looking really nice and happy, but I'm just letting you know, your mouth is mine. I'm fucking you.
Yeah.
You fucked up. That should have been a shutout, you dick. Like,
Yeah.
you just sense it. That's what's coming.
I like when Pep starts yelling at other teams' players.
Oh, yeah. That's
Do you remember
best,
when
too.
he had to go for whatever reason at Nathan Redmond
And it
after
was,
their game against Southampton,
And it was-
either last year or year before?
and it wasn't like he was yelling at him because he was coaching him. Like,
Yeah.
you need to do this. This is how you need to play.
You should have done this, you jackass. What is wrong with you?
Your mouth will be mine too.
It's like, what the fuck are you talking about? I don't play for you, Pep.
All right,
Very
so
funny.
Danny Ings scores in the first 2 minutes, and then nothing else happened.
Liverpool poured forward like a motherfucker, but Fraser Forster, who put more long balls out for throw-ins than any goalkeeper I've ever seen.
Been a little while since he played. Last time he played, I recall, he gave up 9 to Leicester.
They sent him on loan
Yeah.
after that up to Celtic.
Yep.
So the last time he played a league match was in March, I believe.
Yeah.
And I think he had a little bit of an injury problem in there at some point. And McCarthy's been brilliant, to be honest,
Right.
but he tested positive for COVID.
Yep.
So enter 6'7" Fraser Forster. Kicked the ball out of bounds like for real 8 times. It was absolutely ridiculous. A whole possession. What are you doing? Made a couple of pretty good saves. Made a wonderful tackle. I think it was on Mo Salah who got through, and Forster kind of dropped off a bit. Salah took a bit of a heavy touch, seeing him retreat, and then Forster was out quickly and slid tackled the ball away
Yeah.
with his feet, not his hands. It was
Yeah.
absolutely fantastic. Actually came out, did a little bit of sweeper keeping as well. I thought it was lovely. Benderek was huge. The other center back for Southampton, his name escapes me.
Yeah, filling in for Vestergaard currently.
Yeah. He was fantastic. And then Danny Ings, what a finish. What a finish. An excellent free kick. Obvious training ground routine from Southampton, from James Ward-Prowse to find the run of Danny Ings, but didn't even look.
Lazy foul by Silva.
Well, there's wrong. Thiago Alcantara.
Sorry, Alcantara, not Silva.
Wrong
Yeah.
Thiago.
Yeah, wrong Thiago. But very lazy foul. Just, Ward Prowse just getting past him. He just grabs him and pulls him down. Like, don't do. Why do those dumb fucking things when you're 35 yards out, especially when you know the
pick up a yellow.
Well, and the guy that's going to be kicking the ball right now is the best in the fucking business.
Right. Less than a minute after that, right after the goal on the restart, was it Gineppo he took out or somebody?
Yeah.
Ended up getting a yellow in the 3rd minute of the game. It's like, what are you doing?
Yeah. Stop it.
Yeah, that's stupid. Absolutely stupid. And put his team at risk for the rest of the game. Now, he's a very reliable player and didn't really put a foot wrong the rest of the game, but it was like, what are you doing? That's all Southampton needed. And they were holding on by the end of it by, the skin of their teeth. A little squeaky bum time.
Yeah, well, it's what they did against City last year when they got the 1-0 lead and kind of held on to it. We're recording this legitimately right after the match, so we didn't have a chance to hear what Jurgen had to say. I have a feeling Jurgen will not be happy with his team's output because they gave up cheap opportunities, especially down the stretch. It could have been 2. It really could have been 2 on the ball that Allison came out for.
Right.
And unlike the Newcastle game where it's just like, okay, the ball just wasn't going in the back of the net, but we were playing well. They looked very erratic. It was not a good performance for them. Obviously,
no, I mean, by the end of it, they had Jordan Henderson playing fucking center back because they threw on so many attackers.
Yeah.
They had Shaqiri was in, the whole normal front 3.
Yeah.
To the point, like I said, where they took off a center back and dropped Jordan Henderson back to play alongside Fabinho.
Right.
They brought on Nico Williams and moved Trent Alexander-Arnold up to midfield.
Yeah.
They were literally throwing everything but the kitchen sink.
Yeah. And there weren't a ton of great chances. I mean,
No.
they had a few shots, but it wasn't anything. It certainly wasn't like the chances they had when they were playing Newcastle.
No.
But they had better Newcastle chance there.
Yeah, 100%.
But let's talk about what really matters. Those fucking jerseys. All 3 of us had separate opinions of those jerseys.
We did.
I will start with mine because I think mine is the weakest, and I think your 2s are better. But
At least he's honest.
At least he's honest.
But I
At least he's honest.
I still think they're all very good. I first referred to them as camo wannabe Manchester City jerseys.
Yeah.
Nope.
So Mel, even better.
Blue raspberry.
Blue raspberry slushy.
specifically.
Blue raspberry. Yeah, blue raspberry slushy.
Blue raspberry
had all
slushy.
the little intricate on the
Specifically
shirts.
from 7-Eleven too.
Yes.
By the way.
Oh yeah, that's not the high end highs version of it. No.
No.
It's the Slevin slushy.
One would say the Schleven Slurpee would be far more superior than the Highs slush puppy with the little dumb dog.
I love the dumb dog. The dog's the best. Did you not have one of those back in the 80s where you put the ice cubes on top and you can make your own slush puppy at home?
Yes, I do remember that, and I will tell you that was the busted brand. And Slurpee was the king. Why? Because Slurpee actually has all the trademark brands, and Coke goes, yeah, you know what, Slurpee, you could put Coca-Cola on there because we like your brands.
Because it's not
Slush
good by
Puppy,
itself.
you can call it Cola because we are not fucking signing on to that shit.
See, Slush Puppy can hold its own. Slurpee, it needs to glom on to other brands to become anything. If it's so good, why they just give it away once a year?
I don't know this hush puppy you speak of. I was still shitting in diapers.
Slush Puppy. Well, we will find it for you. And simply... I would still fuck with it because, ice with sugar on it is always good. But I got to tell you, busted.
Yeah, I'd give it to Tegan, but she'd be like, I have a blender.
Yeah, I'd do it myself. Thanks.
Yeah.
And Sam, your thought process on the jerseys?
Taco Hell's Mountain Dew Baja Blast.
It's that color.
Yeah.
Really, really
I
bad.
actually think they brought in a bottle of that to the shirt maker, and it's like, hey, can you make this a shirt?
Yeah. This is like the those funny memes of people with bad haircuts? Mm-hmm. And it's like barber says, what do you want? And then it's something random. Mm-hmm. I want my house caught on fire last week. And the barber's like, say no more, fam. And then it's those shitty haircuts. That seemed like that, exactly that. They walked in with a Baja Blast or a Blue Raspberry Slurpee and said, this. And the Adidas shirt sponsor was like, "Say no more, fam."
Checking in on our three sides. Curse of the Cazoo strikes again. Arsenal 4, West Brom 0. Man U 2, Villa 1. West Ham 1, Everton 0. Sammy, are the Gunners back?
Yes, sir. I was super giddy this weekend to see my side free-flowing, running rampant, and just shit was coming from everywhere. It was absolutely fantastic. Excuse me. I can't even...
Hold on one second. Mel, I'm going to need you to isolate all of that so I can play it back to him in 3 weeks when it's doom and fucking gloom again. Go ahead. Continue.
It was lovely. We talked about it, how slow Arsenal were playing over the last 7-8 weeks. They had ebb and flow, and it was lovely. They were skipping players on passes. They were playing diagonals. There was quick 1-2s. There were darting runs in behind. The side looks balanced with Emil Smith-Rowe playing in a number 10. People have been calling for a number 10. I said it should have. I won my game.
Why are you passing it to him?
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm just so used to passing the shots to him.
Obviously, some people say we should have had Mesut Ozil in the whole time. I think that situation became a bit untenable. There's obviously something Arteta doesn't like. Emil Smith-Rowe tracked back. Emil Smith-Rowe worked very hard.
Well, and forgive me for saying this, but everybody wants to, wax poetically about Ozil. Ozil has had chance over chance over chance, and he has stood in the middle of the field and done nothing if the game didn't go exactly the way he wanted it to. Mm-hmm. He has handcuffed that team multiple times.
Absolutely.
You desperately need to get rid of him because he is a cancer on your fucking club. Despite all the nice little things that he's done with, fucking Gunnersaurus and shit like that, he's doing it to fucking troll your fucking team.
Absolutely.
So he needs to be gone, and he's not the answer. And he'll go to another team, and he'll play brilliantly. And somehow Arsenal...
I told you, I think he's lining up a move to play under Jose.
Yeah. And at some point, Arsenal's going to be this monster that just didn't recognize him. But there were plenty of times that he didn't give a fuck out there.
Absolutely.
That he could give two shits less if he wasn't getting the ball exactly where he wanted it and it wasn't going exactly his way. He shut off and did nothing and stood in the middle of the pitch doing nothing.
100%.
Sorry, I'm done ranting.
No, you're good. But for the last 2 months, the plan, for whatever reason, was to hoist balls into the net to our strikers who are 5'9" and 5'11".
Right. Not going to fucking work.
Doesn't make sense. So we got to play the ball on the ground. We got to get the defense moving, and we have to find little pockets of space. You do that by, instead of passing it center back to center back, pass it center back to right wing.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Skip a player. Skip 2 players with a pass. Make the defense shift and move. While they're shifting, that player needs to give it off to somebody else. Make them shift again. Eventually, a pocket of space opens up. That's what happened with the second goal, which was fucking gorgeous.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was Smith-Rowe to Lacazette. I'm sorry, it was Saka that started it. Saka to Laka to Smith-Rowe back to Saka, who very intelligently kept his run going and finished comfortably. Literally walked the ball in the back of the net. That was after Angry Scotsman and should be, in my opinion, the starter over Andy Robertson. I actually called his ass out on Instagram for not being able to do what Kieran Tierney did. But Angry Scotsman Kieran Tierney's fine finish with his wrong foot almost ripped a hole in the back of the net. To open the scoring was fantastic. Always love seeing snow on the pitch as well. That was lovely. Lacazette obviously got another goal, or got 2, I'm sorry, because it was Saka's first. Laka got 2, which were both brilliant as well. One, just a great reaction, got his leg high enough. Ball actually hit off his knee, but it was a deflected cross, and he just got his leg high enough. And then I say we sign, was it Adeji? Ajay? What was his name? Semi Ajay, yeah. Ajayi, I think is who it was, who went to clear the ball away from his goal, sliced it, and ended up hitting the angle of his own goal. Somebody with that fine eye for finishing, I think we should sign and put up front. It was absolutely sublime, that touch.
Well, he did get
not what he meant it to happen, but it looked fantastic. But it rifled right back to I think it was Smith Rowe, and then Smith Rowe slid it in for Lacazette, who finished. But it was just absolutely fantastic. It was all encompassing from start to finish. They had one or two chances here or there, but you're eventually going to give up a chance or two. City even gave up a chance to West Brom. It happens. It's part of football, right? That people are going to get chances. Whether or not they take those chances is a different story. If they put that chance on target or not is a different story. But we dealt with everything they threw at us. It was absolutely sublime. Pablo Mari has been playing fantastic. It's been just absolutely a great 3 games for us. And if we can build on this, I told you this. You laughed at me when I told you. I was being hopeful after that ugly-ass win to start these 3 games. There was a couple of winnable games after that. And if we could get some confidence going and we can get on a little bit of a roll, right now, I think we are 6 points, 2 games. We are 6 points out of 6th place, I think. Yeah, 6 points out of 4th right now.
I definitely need you to isolate that beginning to play back to him later when it all goes horrifically wrong.
I also told you that I wasn't worried about relegation. I knew we were going to right the ship at some point.
Of course, you know that was the case.
It's just, it was beautiful. It was absolutely fucking beautiful.
I mean, it's no boom, Jaka Laka Saka, but, it's still pretty good. So, Mel, yeah.
I think what I closed the last segment with should be the show title, if that's what you're
Well,
getting
no,
at.
I was just throwing your little reference you made the last week and just throwing it back at you there, killer. Saying you could do better. You can do better.
Well, it was boom.
Jaka Laka Saka.
No, I know. I'm trying to think of what this week would be. It was boom, tiered.
You went Saka Laka Smith.
Smith
Bob George.
Yeah.
Smith Bob George. There you go. You know what? That might be the title of the show, Smith Bob George. All one word, no commas. Smith Bob George.
But you have to do the capital letter at the start of each with no spaces. Yeah. I don't know. I honestly, we looked balanced. Yeah. I think when Willian comes back, and I think he's better than Smith Rowe, but he's not fast enough to play the wings anymore. I told you about this. Put him at the number 10. He's fucking Brazilian, for Christ's sake.
Let him play with the ball.
He can use both feet. He can shoot from distance, and he's got great vision. Put him in the middle of the field. So what if he's not fast enough to run the wing anymore? That's fine. Many players have made that transition, right? Put him at number 10.
Yeah.
That's okay. He can play those balls too.
Yeah.
Right? I like Smith Rowe. And now after these performances, I don't think you can take him out of the team at the moment. But my point is that change in shape balanced the midfield completely.
Oh, absolutely.
Xhaka was allowed to play as a holding midfielder. When Ceballos came in, he played as a pivot. Right? That midfield looked brilliant. And I know it's West Brom, and I'm not trying to get too excited, but just the free flowing, there was literally nothing they could have done to stop us. Nothing.
All right, we're done. We need to move on, killer.
Fuck that shit. I gotta keep going.
We can keep talking about their team.
West Brom, by the way, the Big Sam experiment so far in 4 matches has conceded 13 goals. So that is going epically well.
Well, it's funny is you remember I made the comment that it apparently takes 6 days to implement Big Sam's style. Well, then he royally fucked it after he. What was it? Was it 0-0 or?
It was 1-1.
It was 1-1,
so
but it was one of the ugliest games of football I've ever seen.
Lost 3-0, drew 1-1, and then it was 4-0, 5-0, 4-0 in back-to-back matches. Mel, how does it feel to get Manchester United?
We can move on to the next game.
I mean, it's Mel.
Okay, well, it wasn't. Okay, we played very well. We took it right back to them, and that was a battle right up to the last whistle.
So
we tied it. I shouldn't be doing a shot. I protest. In fact, I demand a recount. I call fraud.
If you could just
that foul was soft.
If you could just find one more goal,
yeah,
we'd be even, and then that's all I need.
Yeah, if you could just find one more goal,
exactly.
2 would be great. Two would be awesome. But I get it if you can only find one.
Have they changed out the parts inside of Old Trafford? Because I've heard they've moved the old parts of Old Trafford out of the building, and that's definitely happened as well.
And the VAR machine was programmed by somebody with an anti-Villa agenda.
Of course.
And I don't appreciate that, and it needs to be investigated. We're going to have speeches about it. I've gathered a group of people. It's going to be a wild ride.
You understand the state's upset, and more importantly, the country's upset. The country is very much upset.
You know what? Do you remember the movie with Tom Cruise and the predictive crime? I can't remember the name of the movie.
Minority
Report. I feel like they probably just shaved Alex Ferguson's head. They've got him in some training pool downstairs with electrodes and shit. And then Jose's got Jose, Jesus Christ, he's not there anymore. It's Ole.
Yeah.
Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's got one of the Matrix-style fucking things in the back of his neck.
Just plugged in.
And it's Alex Ferguson actually controlling.
Heard. Yep. Controlling
Ole's body.
Mel, so for the 3 seasons we've been doing the show.
Really far-fetched, that.
Yeah, it was very far-fetched. For the 3 seasons we've been doing
the show. 3 seasons?
Yes.
I've only been paying attention too.
Exactly. Well, for the 3 seasons we've been doing the show.
That whole first season, she did a fucking thing.
No, she played her fucking island game.
That's right,
I got a lot of coconuts made in that first season.
Yeah, she did.
She was the #1 strawberry farmer, I heard.
So, all right, can we continue, please? The thing with Manchester United is that since we've been doing this show, they've been in a free fall.
Yes.
And suddenly now they're in second place. They've got a game in hand of which they could move into first place.
Yeah, you're feeding the conspiracy. Keep going.
Okay. So
their game in hand though is against. Well, I'm sorry. Their next game up is
2 away is Liverpool.
Oh, it's 2 away.
2 away is Liverpool.
I thought it was next Tuesday.
I thought it was, but it's not. It's 2 away. Okay, it's 2 away. But anywho, here's the thing.
6-pointer.
So here's the thing. You haven't seen this before with Manchester United. You've just known the shit show, right? That the dumpster fire, the whatever. The shit show is what we've called it typically, and them not living up to expectation. They're starting to live up to expectation, and then this kind of shit happens.
I know. I'm not happy about it.
You play them well. You do everything right. You get the equalizer, and then suddenly Paul Pogba, who holds David Douglas Luiz's neck and trips himself, gets a penalty.
Yep, that is some bullshit right there.
Welcome to getting Man United. That's how that works.
Right?
That is, when we talk about, we want to see Man United be successful, but this bullshit normally comes along with it, which drives us nuts.
Oh, yeah. And tens of millions of people are very upset over it, and we are looking into this.
Very good. But you know what you still have to do, much like on the 6th? It's going to happen. It's inevitable. Throw back your shot on Malort, producer Mel.
Wow, hold on. I forgot.
I'm doing this under protest.
When you're unavailable to do the picture stuff, it's me. Ready?
Yeah, this is awesome for the live crowd.
Let's get the old scarf in there. There you go. Perfect.
I like how I wore a Villa color shirt.
I do like that. That's very good of you.
Of course, I just noticed it when I looked down. We were pointing the camera at my chest, going, "What are you doing?"
I will say about this. I think I don't really have much to add because I think I was drunk when I wrote my notes.
Lovely.
Because I wrote Traore leveled after good work from score the winner.
Yeah,
not a sentence.
That is not a sentence.
Doesn't even make sense.
That's pretty brilliant. And you know what? That makes more sense than the next game. West Ham versus Everton, 1-0. You know what? No, fuck it. This doesn't belong here. It belongs in Oso. Here's my fucking shot, and maybe we'll give West Ham a few words of acknowledgement, because that game was fucking shit. As I swallow my shot of Malort, it's time to tell you, well, no, it's not prediction time. I fucking suck.
I mean, the Malort went right to your head.
Yeah. Rounding out the rest of the league and, so that happened. Whew, been a while. It fucking sucks.
Terrible.
Yeah, that took a detour and went straight to your head. It juiced your head right up.
It did juice my head.
And if you want to get that reference, you can find it at www.patreon.com/DUfootballshow.
Horse say what?
Sign up to one of our top 2 tiers. You get all the extra content and a lot of other inside jokes that we don't normally say on the main show.
Very simply put, very ugly match with Everton and West Ham. West Ham stuck around, did exactly what they needed to do. Maybe there were a few chances. Sam, you're not even going to get to add to it because it's pretty shitty. Souček. He's been right man, right place, right time, gets the right goal. It was probably should have been a draw, but also if you're going to play for a draw, you sometimes deserve to lose. And that's what it kind of felt like.
Sheffield United.
Yeah, exactly. Burnley Palace, there was initially, Sam, you and I had talked about some questions we were going to talk about with them. I want to hold that for another time just because I think we would go into a deep dive.
This is Palace Sheffield, you mean?
No, starting with Burnley Fulham being postponed.
Burnley first. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
my bad.
Obviously COVID's still a problem with Fulham, so they're not playing currently. But the big news, yeah.
Bit of a funny caveat to that.
What's that?
It's not really funny. It sucks, actually. They retested everybody to see if the game could go forward after the last week's initial outbreak. And there was actually more COVID positive tests than there were initially. So
licking each other's faces over there at Craven Cottage?
Something wasn't going. I didn't know Ashley Barnes signed for them.
Yeah.
Just out there kissing everybody on the nose.
Lots of nose kisses. Lots and lots of gentle little nose kisses. Eskimo kisses. Burnley did get a new ownership group. It's the former Real Salt Lake, not the bad one, not the
racist guy,
not the racist, sexist one, but the former Real Salt Lake owners have just purchased Burnley. This could not come at a better time for Burnley because there's a reason why they only spent $1 million in this last transfer window because it's all the money they fucking had.
Yeah. Am I the only one that if somebody is either racist or sexist, I want them to also be the other one? Because if you're going to be a dickhead, at least fucking commit to it.
Right. If you're going to...
At least commit to being a cunt.
If you're going to hate people of a different race, might as well hate women too.
Yeah, why not?
Why not hate them both?
Throw it all in.
You know?
Commit. If you're going to be a bigot, a bigoted fucking douchebag.
Be homophobic too.
Yeah.
Let's just go for the trifecta, baby. If you're going to hate it all.
Yeah. Like George Carlin said, at least be equal opportunity.
Right? Lovely. I will say the one thing that we can say about the ownership change for Burnley, being that it's a January transfer window, they might actually put a little bit of influx of cash in there. They might actually get just the one or two extra players they need because it's really, they just need a couple of pieces, right? Not saying that they're going to become world beaters, but if they get a couple of pieces, suddenly they're very quickly safely in 13th place.
I was very confused as to why went to Newcastle, Jeff Hendrick.
Yeah.
The Irish guy. I'm very confused as to why Jeff Hendrick left.
It was on a free. They couldn't re-sign him.
Yeah, but so he was their only creative spark, essentially.
Right.
And
he
without
wasn't all
him,
that creative.
right. Without him, it shows. Yeah. You add into that Chris Wood.
McNeil's a talented kid, but he's doing it from the outside.
Right.
There's nothing in the middle. I mean, Westwood's fine. I mean, the new kid Brady's doing all right, but he's still a kid.
Correct. But you add in the injuries to Chris Wood and Ashley Barnes that they haven't been able to play together all season, really.
No, this season they finally started playing together. Last season they weren't playing together.
No, for weeks.
Yeah.
You had Jay Rodriguez up front, which he's with 34. Like, what is he going to do?
There was a few weeks ago that they both scored in a game, and that was
finally.
Yeah, right,
yes.
finally.
That's what I'm saying. But they're starting off this beginning of the season. They hadn't been there, and they're still not. I don't think they're still not fully match sharp.
No.
And once they settle back into that, and you can just hoist balls up, you don't need creativity because the two of them make their own chances. Yeah, they're big, strong, brutish, and they can move people out of the way and manipulate things as to how they want them.
Right.
Without that, Jay Rodriguez just can't do that shit anymore. Without them, they were in a lot of trouble. And now that they're back, I think they'll start to right that. But this cash injection, I think, is going to help.
I mean,
and you would hope they would pick somebody up. Like, you know who I could see doing very well here? Aaron Moy.
Yeah, that kind of player.
The former Huddersfield Australian guy. I could see him fitting in here very well. He's no stranger to a tackle, but he's just got that little bit of a creative spark.
Yeah, I mean, I don't disagree with that at all. I think that's exactly the kind of player you want to add to the lineup. You know, I mean, just something as dumb as a quality championship keeper that you can have be the backup to Pope, as opposed to a 20-year-old academy player who had to fucking play against Manchester City.
Right.
How are you doing anything good for your club there by,
Absolutely.
And at that point, it was the old ownership, because let's face it, they rely on match day revenue to pay all their salaries. So now they have to pay for all their salaries with their TV money. Well, guess what? No fucking money to buy anybody.
Right, because that TV money is now being diverted from Transfer Kitty to other shit.
And while a guy like Tchaikovsky is an asset to sell, but at what cost to your squad?
Well, the way defending's going this year in the Premier League, I think that they'll be able to command about $80 million for him.
But you're not going to sell him because you're not going to get any. Like, even if you got
sarcastic.
I know, I get you, but it's impossible. So I get why Burnley was in the situation that they were in, but I think honestly, this new ownership group, you make the couple right 2-3 signings, and we can remove their name from the checklist of the. Right now, we've been saying there's 6 teams at the bottom. We can very quickly say there's 5 teams at the bottom.
Yeah, I would tend to agree with that.
Like that. Just like that. And considering all that, they're still getting fucking results as well while it's been
these last couple of weeks.
Yeah, they've been finding ways to get results.
Yep.
Palace comfortable with the win.
Very comfortable with the win.
By the way, everybody wants to lose their mind over Son's goal last year. The goal of the year. Tell me Eze's isn't any better, and tell me Eze's isn't more effortless.
Oh, yeah. He just passed the ball right in the back of the net.
He glided.
From 20 yards.
Just glided down the field, and nobody touched him.
No, it was beautiful.
And it didn't even look like he was sprinting. It just looked like he was just, like Pepe
It was
Le
like
Pew
Thierry Henry. It was like
chasing-
Thierry Henry used to do.
Yeah.
It's just a glide. It's like ice skating. It was absolutely gorgeous.
You remember the Pepe Le Pew, the skunk cartoons?
Yeah,
Where he would
of
chase
course.
the other skunk and he's just da-ding, 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 da-ding. Like, that's what, as he was just da-ding, 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 da-ding.
He used to do the
Boom.
kiss up the arm thing,
Yeah.
too.
Yep.
Like, what's his name from Adam's Family? Yeah.
Oh, my
yeah.
chérie.
Yeah.
I love
I
this
hope
one on your
nobody
skin.
listens to us in France.
But,
If you live in France, skip this episode.
that goal was gorgeous.
Oh, it's fantastic.
From
It's
60 yards
absolutely
out,
fantastic.
just
Yeah.
glided down the field.
And that's what a lot of teams are missing is a player to grab the game by the scruff of the neck and say, I'm going to fucking do this on my own.
Mm-hmm.
And he did. He took control of that ball and he went a full 60 to 65 yards, beating player after player.
Six
after
players?
player. Something like that.
Yeah.
About, 5, 6 for sure.
I wouldn't go so far as to call it.
And pass the ball into the corner.
I wouldn't go so far as to call it Maradona-esque because Maradona's was like a bulldog.
Yeah.
Like, it was like,
No, this was much prettier than that.
I got the ball. Fuck you, I'm scoring.
Yeah.
Like, that's
Yeah.
what Maradona's goal was.
Absolutely.
It was just sure will
Yeah.
and cocaine, allegedly. But
Allegedly.
I want to.
Just can't talk ill of the dead. Come on.
Yeah, exactly.
Fuck's sake.
Man, let it a toot. What can we say? Like to toot. Anywho, what I want to say about Sheffield right now,
They should get a new coach.
until they get a point, they do something of at least interest. I'm done talking about Sheffield United other than to say the scoreline. I'm
Yeah.
done fucking talking about them.
They need to shake something up here. Something's not working. It's not going right. One of the shows I listened to on XM, one of the pundits was saying something fairly poignant. If you set up your system, if your idea is, I'm going to win 1-0, that's a very fine fucking line to walk.
Yeah.
And this season, they're finding themselves on the other side of that line.
Yeah, that's not the line you want to walk.
And
no.
that's a problem, obviously, given their position. 2 points from 17 games.
I'm telling you, I think the worst record of all time is in jeopardy of being broken. The Derby County 11 points.
And that's why I said
it could happen.
They need some sort of shakeup. They're not a bad side, I don't think. A lot of their players perform maybe a little bit above expectations, but I don't think they should be in the position they're in currently. not necessarily their quote unquote league position, but just having 2 points, and they have played the full allotment of 17 games.
Well, so going into the
minus 21 goal differential,
and it's still not the worst in the league. West Brom is
West Brom 28,
managed by Big Sam. So,
well, why are you doing that to them?
So January. Why should Sheffield? No. I'm done talking about Sheffield. Fuck them. Jose'd Bielsa. Plain and simple.
Yeah, he did a bit.
I would like to say, as a whore as well, if you went to www.patreon.com/DUfootballshow and listened to Injury Time, you would hear one Mr. Big Sam Houston say, Spurs are winning this match 3-0.
Too bad you didn't make that your bet.
I know. Because I was so sure about Chelsea.
It's a shame that the only thing that applies here that I could say is the same Lewis Black bit that I made last week with you pimping the Patreon is that you're putting on the rouge.
Yeah.
Because the boys like that.
Oh, I do it once and suddenly I'm the whore. You do it 20 times. I got you.
I do it, it's a bit.
I put an ad on Craigslist. You stand on the corner every night, but I'm the whore. Okay.
See, but what you fail to realize is every time I make the advert, Mel and I giggle.
Yeah, we find it funny.
Because you get angry.
I know.
You did it. Graham and I were like, the fuck
but what is he stepping all over my fucking thing?
Like, come on, dude.
That was
exactly
exactly the idea, was to fuck with your brain.
Blowing sailors at $5
now
a pop.
I'm all in your head, running around in circles. Spurs just, they counterattacked at the right times. They did exactly what they were supposed to do.
The problem is Bielsa's system plays exactly into Jose's hands.
Mm-hmm.
And with no disrespect to Leeds, because they are performing much better than I thought they would this season. Honestly, no disrespect to them. Pound for pound, Spurs are a better team, period. Yeah. And when you have two, this is fucking hard to say. When you have two geniuses of the game, like Jose and Marcelo Bielsa,
isolate that,
going head to head, and Jose having access to better players, period. It's the system that's going to provide those chances, and that system provided the better of those chances to the better team. And that's the end of it.
Game completely changes if it's Leeds that scores first and Spurs are on the back foot. Then Leeds
then they won't know what to do. Yeah, Spurs won't know what to do.
Win 4-2 because inevitably the class of Spurs are going to score goals, but the onslaught zombie wave of Leeds is not going to stop.
Well, right, and Jose does not like to play front foot football.
Right.
Period.
Right.
So his whole system's out the window, which means they leave gaps.
Yep.
Because that's not how they're drilled.
And then Daughtry with a double yellow card
and stoppage time, no less. What are you doing?
Good thing that expensive signing never fucking plays. Pretty much.
The fuck are you doing? Terrible time since he's been there.
Foxes get a great win. I mean, that was a really good gutsy win. They were clinical.
Well, I never fully felt that Newcastle were out of this game, but I also wasn't totally convinced that they'd get back into it.
That was my second comment was Newcastle did show fight. They fought. They like
Joe Linton worked his socks off in this game. It's just they lack Newcastle. It's hard to fault them for the effort sometimes,
right?
But they do lack the quality on occasion.
Which is funny because they had a great offseason signing fucking people.
I know. It's weird, but Saint-Maximin's been hurt for a while now. Saint-Maximin's been hurt.
And that is definitely the
big trouble for them.
That is the straw. I'm sorry. That's the straw that stirs the drink for that.
Before that, the Longstaff boys were hurt. So you didn't have them in the middle of the pitch either before Maximin went out. So you never had the balanced midfield that they presented early on in the season. You've added Callum Wilson's goals to the team, and that's been wonderful. But if he doesn't have the service, we can see he ain't scoring.
Right.
These last few weeks. So it's like, I think he had maybe 1-2 weeks ago or something like that.
He needs lanes. He needs opportunities.
Absolutely. But there's nobody to create that for him. Right. No, exactly. So I think this is more of a problem of the wrong injury at the wrong time for Newcastle. I think they'll figure that out and they'll be comfortably safe. I'm not concerned about them getting dragged into a relegation battle.
No, I don't think they will either.
But which honestly is what they need so they can fire Steve Bruce. But
that was going to be my point is I feel like there's competition for places, right? You look at every position on their field, they have multiple players they can put in. Not saying that they're all world beaters and that they're all going to get signed by another club tomorrow.
They can do a job, yeah.
But they can all do a job, and there's at least one guy behind every single player on that pitch that could at least challenge, right? Like, Colin Wilson's clearly going to be the out-and-out striker, but Joe Linton can challenge him for that role. Mm-hmm. You have the Longstaff brothers, but you also have Hayden and Shelby to do a job, right?
Absolutely.
Yedlin, and then the kid from Norwich, Lewis, is it the outside back that they signed?
Maybe.
Yeah, but there's what I'm getting at is hell, Darlow and fucking the other goalie. Why am I forgetting? Dubravka. Sorry. Every single position on that pitch has competition.
Right.
I don't think Steve Bruce knows what the fuck to do with that.
Yeah.
I don't think that's a problem he's ever had before. I think most of Steve Bruce's problems has been, all right, so I got 2 guys who can come off the bench. Who's my third?
Yeah. So the other thing, too, is their defense has been absolutely ravaged with injuries this season. Fabian Schär is just finally getting 2-3 games under his belt in a row. Lascelles has been out now for a couple of weeks. All of those different things has led to a lack of continuity at the back and random mistakes that almost go against the run of play in a lot of cases. But there's nothing you can do to account for a very angry James Maddison who tried to blow a hole through the side of St. James's Park.
It's time to tell you what little we know. It is prediction time. Back to the normal. We all missed the fucking bird hit. Yep. Graham, you're now down 769. Good news. Good news. Not 69. You don't have to make a bet this week, so you won't lose, Sam.
There we go.
Pat missed on both of his, but we'll check in on him next week, giving him the night off.
I forgot to text them. Hey, Pat, we're going to check with you next week. You have the night off.
Excellent. And stall a little longer because Daddy's got to do his math.
Pat, we really appreciate you.
All right, perfect. We're good.
I like the idea of him sitting at home waiting for the phone call and not finding out we don't need him until tomorrow.
I'm definitely not texting him now.
Well, our boy was out duck hunting, so we're going to have to ask him about that. He had posted his pictures on Facebook, so I definitely want to chat with him about that.
I have a funny story about that I got to tell you off air.
Okay, very good.
Better yet, tell us on injury time.
Oh, I could do that.
Excellent. I'm hanging on by a thread, just up only $45. But when you use my tried and true system, at least you're up $45.
Big Sam's Lock of the Week.
In case you weren't aware of it, Sam, 33.3% of the time, it works 100% of the time. Just letting you know that. Now, this was segment because,
we didn't have anything to do.
It's a betting segment and we didn't actually bet. but we do still have a chicken.
So Kitty hit with a Palace win and sits at 7-9. Now, it's been very rainy and cold, but Kitty was in good spirits, although a little sluggish. Upon further investigation, though, it looks like Kitty threw a rager at the coop while we were away for New Year's Eve.
How dare you, Kitty?
There were empty Tito's half gallons, Red Bull cans, and bottles of champagne all over the room.
Oh, we know who was there.
And our newest chicken, Penny, wow, she was on the perch rocking back and forth, looking aimlessly into the distance. I suspect Jamie effin' Vardy made an appearance, and I'm not happy about it because I have banned him from the coop. And so I may have to sit out there with a shotgun this weekend.
All right, good. Well, before you tell everybody what they're supposed to do, Sam and I both forgot to feed the cup of losers.
So you don't even know what you're supposed to do.
Mine, very simply, I know this much. It says, fuck Chelsea and fuck producer Mel, too. And that's from earlier while we were doing sound check. I was
sorry.
inspired.
Who is Chelsea?
Yeah, exactly.
Who is this bitch that I have competition with?
She a rich bitch. What do you got, Sammy?
Damn it, Jose. That's it. Oh, and a frowny face.
Oh, a frowny face.
you
Oh,
can't even-
fuck it.
You can't even get it in the cup.
That cup's getting a little hefty now.
It is starting to get a little
If y'all
full.
didn't lose so much, you wouldn't have to worry about shoving in the cup. And speaking of losing, this is a great reminder to always gamble legally and responsibly. I'm very proud of that.
Did you hear that?
I was very proud of that wrap up.
That was excellent. So good you didn't hear it, which is lovely.
Oh, what did you?
Breaking
didn't hear
news
me
when
go,
it feels
"Oh,
like
fuck."
breaking.
Because I didn't have the fantasy shit pulled up yet.
Do I need to pad for you too?
No, I'm good.
Breaking news when it feels like breaking. I just noticed they're taking an international break, so no games from one Mr. Degenerate Gambling friend, Pat.
Nope, it's an FA Cup break, so still domestic, not international, but well done to notice. Very well done. So I have our results, Big Sam.
Me no do so good.
You know do so good, my friend. But we'll get to that.
Alberto has whooped my ass twice now. I mean, whooped me twice.
Yeah, I took out Rob 41-37. Very close game. Got a little lucky with some players that didn't play, and also pretty much everyone in my midfield performed, which was lovely. Alberto did take care of you 45-27, big time. Chris Firecock putting it in Geckel 30-27. Taylor, Jesus Christ, taking out Lindsay, and which is quite funny. You saw his meme, right?
Hey, call her by her surname.
Her Highness.
Yes.
You saw Taylor's meme.
Yeah, Farajaka, right?
No, the meme you put on the
Oh, the little kitty
DUFC
cat with
page.
the thumbs up.
Yeah, that said, knowing how good Lindsay has been at fantasy football and being worried about playing her, but then listening to the show and hearing me predict that she was going to wipe the floor with him and how good I am at making picks. And then it was the kitty with the thumb up.
Yep.
And turns out he's right because he won 47-38. Kenny just edged out Smokey 26-23. Smokey on a bit of a slide lately.
Yeah, he has been.
Alan losing to JB 43-36. Jay Business back on the
I
winning
was going to
side.
say, is the business working his way up the table?
In a riveting matchup, Elliot beat Russ 24-12. Look at that, 3 players each. Yeah. terrible.
And Russ told me today he was very excited about the fact that Thiago Alcantara was actually in the lineup.
Yellow card.
It's the little things, Russ. It's the little
That
things.
might be his 12 points.
Right.
Hope
And
you
then-
enjoy golf.
And then Keith, big winner of the week, 55-27 over Ray. And I will just say, Ray, that is what you fucking deserve, mate. So that takes Alan leading the pack, Ray up to, in second, remains in second, Elliot in third, Smokey in fourth, JB in fifth, Big Sam in sixth, Alberto in seventh, me in eighth, up to eighth, and that's fifth, sixth, seventh, eighth, all, no, I'm sorry, 6, 7, 8, all at 9, 0, and 8. Mm-hmm. Incredibly mediocre.
So mediocre.
Taylor up to 9th, Lindsay down to 10th, Rob down to 11th, Keith in 12th, Firecock in 13th, Kenneth up to 14th. Speculative at best. One of the highest point getters this season, down to 15th still, 5-0-12, more points than anybody. And then
more points than I would say 9 of the teams in our league.
And Russ is the only responsible one out of us, socially distancing himself in dead last place.
Very good. So Sammy, that's going to wrap it up. Any parting words?
No, because we have a lot more to do this evening. I don't really have anything else to say today.
Yep. We're actually going to go ahead and do our FA Cup preview show tonight, which will be released on Thursday. And then for our Patreon listeners, we're actually going to go a little bit deeper into the FA Cup and talk about all the League Two sides, which should be fun, that are there. Give a little history lesson about some of them and all that good stuff.
Yep.
That's going to wrap it up. Sammy, how does people find Injury Time?
You got to go to www.patreon.com/DUfootballshow. Sign up to one of the top 2 tiers, and you will get at least Injury Time for the $5 tier. The $9 tier, you get all of the extra content. Why is it $9? Because 10's too fucking much. Goddamn right. So there you go. Favorite weekend of the year in the domestic season coming up. Everyone enjoy it. It's a glorious, glorious thing. Download Patreon and find out why.
David plays Goliath and David beats Goliath.
In a lot of cases, yeah.
It's pretty fucking great. And the draw this year, over 50% of the games are at David's house, not at Goliath's house, which should be a lot of fun. Even with an empty stadium, it should feel like a fucking cemetery.
You're not going to like the rules.
I
had me research.
imagine
Heard.
the
Very good.
snacks are better at Goliath's house.
They're also more expensive.
Yeah,
a
that's
brisket
true.
burger at Arsenal runs £17.50 now.
I don't know what that means in American.
And what?
In American. You know what?
We're not paying in Armenian. What are you talking about?
You know what? We can't do any better. Till next week, everybody.
Good Nacht.
Born in the land of Bowie, Maryland. Bred to be a fan of fucking Everton. Punch you in the eye and drink your rye. Sam Houston. Sam Houston? Arsenal fans have another Sam. Right day, the fucking Gooner Graham. Stump of my lord. Look straight in shorts. Sam Graham, hey. Sam Graham. Fucking United! Fucking United! Hit the fucking mute button!